Yeah. Bros TV. To talk different. Yeah. Yeah. Heavy on the grind, pressure in my tone. Stand up business, built it on my own. Came from the mud, wisdom in the scars. Lesson in the loss, vision in the dark. Eyes on the mission, move like a boss. Principles first, never took a loss. Real overviews, purpose when I speak. Leaders in the room, giants in the seats. You bout to walk with Brosy. You bout to walk with Brosy. You bout to walk with Brosy. You bout to walk with Brosy.
Welcome back to the channel. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We are back trying to start this week off right. I would like to say it was a lovely Monday, but wasn't that lovely outside. It was cold as hell. And what's crazy is yesterday it was nice. It was a little, it was really nice out. I'm in the house and, I got my hoodie on. And I'm like, yo, why is it? It's hot in here. Like, it's hotter in the house than it is outside. And I go check the thermostat and I'm like, oh man, I got the heat on. Let me cut this heat off. So I cut the heat off. Today, I'm working from home and I'm like, yo, I got blankets on. I got a sweater on. I'm like, yo, why is it so damn cold in here? And that's that time of the year, y'all, where, if you're on the East Coast or whatever, like, some days it's hot, some days it's cold. You got 68-degree days, and then the next day is 32 with flurries. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I used to be all about, like, the winter time when I was a young boy, because I would always say, yo, I don't like the heat. Summer be too hot, that shit be boiling my skin up. Hey, I hated the damn summertime. Listen, man, if it's too hot, I'm in the house, I'm in the AC. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or what is the case. I can't do this cold like I used to. I would always say, I could layer up, double sock, got your hat, you got your gloves, right? You can put your thermals on, right? Your long johns, right? And there's nothing you could do about the heat. So I would always say, nah, I like the winter more. But I can't lie to y'all. I can't wait for the damn summer. Because I don't know if it's my age, man. This cold is starting to make my fucking bones ache, chat. I can't handle it. I can't handle this cold weather the way I used to. I'm ready for the summer. I'm ready to be out there in the beach in the sun and in somebody water. For real, man. But anyway, enough of my rant. I always got to start this shit off with a rant. I don't know why, but, I just feel like it's only right. I gotta get that shit off my chest. Anyway, I'm scrolling down YouTube, as I do. I see a video from Hip Hop Is Real. Shout out to Knowledge and everybody over there at hiphopisreal.com. I see a title that say, Beasley, something like Beasley explains what it takes to return back to URL. And that interests me a little bit because, we're in a weird time in these battle rap streets. I feel like there's not a lot of events going on. And if there are, we're not talking about it as much. So I seen the video and I'm like, man, I started to think. We just watched Ill Will return. There's a few more guys that can make returns like Hitman Holla, Big K, Baby Froze. That would interest me. And I'm sure a lot of other people. So before that self-care, y'all don't knock me. You got to make sure we right every time. Like I said, go take care of yourselves, fellas. Stop biting your nails. Go get your fingers and your hands cleaned up. The ladies love it. I just went and got mine done. Don't judge me. And I enjoy it. But anyway, I'm watching the video. Before I watch the video, I always stop and say, you know what? I want to make sure the chat and the bro zone gets my full my first live reaction to the video. So anytime I see something interesting, I stop, I bookmark it, and I say, you know what? I'm gonna go watch that with the chat. So enough of my yapping. We're gonna go see what Bees was talking about. Now this is my second. My second attempt at this blog. I cut a 12-minute blog, and no, I'm lying. I cut a 30-minute blog and didn't realize I was on mute. I mean, I say 30 minutes. It was more like 22. I mean, that's damn near 30. On mute, chat. Pissed me off. But, that's Monday shit. It's Monday shit. I said, I almost kicked my damn computer off the fucking desk. All right. Let's see what B's talk about.
Relationships and battle rap.
Here we go. Here we go.
All right. Next topic. This one's called mending relationships and battle rap.
Here we go. Here we go.
Over the years, URL has had public fallouts with artists, but recently we've seen relationships repaired with battlers like Mike P and Ill Will. What does it take behind the scenes to mend those relationships?
Man, I think time heals wounds. I think, it all depends on what's happening at the time. As long as nobody's family gets hurt, I can, even when I feel, and most of the time, I feel like I'm right. I'm gonna be honest with you. From the human side of things.
B strikes me as that kind of guy. Is that he always thinks he's right kind of guy. He does. Like, over the years, I'm glad he said that, because I know I ain't the only one that picked that up. You know what I'm saying? One thing I will say, though, and, I had this talk with Froze the other day, and it's like sometimes, we was arguing about the Jay-Z and the Rockefeller state property, the Def Jam. We was having a discussion about that whole split up and business, and I had a conversation with him, and I said, sometimes you got to make tough decisions in business, and sometimes it's grimy. Sometimes it feels grimy. Sometimes it feels wrong, but sometimes you got to do what's best for you and your business, no matter what that may mean for the opposite party, right? And one thing I will say about URL, Beasley, Smack, and everybody over there is, whether we like it or not, they always going to do what they feel is best for URL. If that means not bringing somebody back, if that means not putting battles out on YouTube and only putting them on the app, it don't matter. They are going to do what's best for URL and their business. You got to respect that. You ain't got to like it. You got to respect it.
Like we're right?
Right.
But, for the sake of business, anything can be worked out, But I think what hurts us sometimes is, like, a lot of times guys say things in the public, right? And then they're wrong. But they never want to say they're wrong publicly, so they apologize behind the scenes, and then it appears that, I guess URL had to run back and they needed them and this and that. And I'm not. And listen, I don't want to. I'm just speaking in general. I'm not saying that that's what happened with Mike P or Ill Will.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because there are times where we have differences, where maybe they assumed something, and we had to talk about it. So sometimes that can be an issue as well, where maybe nobody was at fault, but it was just assumptions and we're both being stubborn. So then, they said, well, I'm going to take my talent someplace else.
Right.
And then I'll be like, all right, well, you go ahead. I'll get somebody else.
Right.
So what that tells me, they listen and they hear everything. They may not respond. They may not let you know. Somebody reporting back, letting them know everything that's being said. And business of no business, they got morals and they got feelings, I guess, too. You say that shit in the public, you gonna apologize in the public, point blank. We don't want them thinking we soft as a company. They care if it's like, they care if we think, if the public perception thinks that URL had to come crawling back to a certain battle rapper. He cares about that. Whether you think it's petty or not, Beasley just admitted that they care about that shit.
until we, come to realize, it's really not that deep. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes emotions run high and different things happen. So it can be tough sometimes, you know what I mean? But, I think most things are mendable. You know what I mean? As long as there's some level of respect, even though we've tolerated a lot of disrespect, even though a lot of things have been said that people never apologize for.
Or borderline, or cross the line. Or,
yeah, people cross the line, people say things, but I have tough skin. And I say not to say that, I say that because, like, Smack is Smack. Smack's an icon. You know what I'm saying?
Fuck these niggas, son. I'm good on these niggas.
Smack can say whatever he wants. And people, and rightly so, right? Because he deserves the credit. Because even before, I linked with Smack and we started to work, Smack was Smack already. Right. So I didn't make Smack. Smack was who he was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then when we got together and started working on Smack DVD, I had some connections and things that helped take it to the next level, but he was already on his way.
Right.
Like, I knew who Smack was before he ever knew who I was. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to him. And
that's a good piece of information, chat. That's pretty fly. So Beasley, the businessman himself, he's seen it. Oh, nah, Smack going somewhere. I got to get tied in somehow in that. Smack is going places. That's fire. Beasley seen it from the jump. This Smack DVD, this battle rap, this shit going somewhere. And he was right, man. URL is, I think the main reason why battle rap is the industry it is today. Why it's professional today. They have a big part in that. Why we got these other leagues that we got, RBE, King of the Dot, TBL, like, shout out to URL, shout out to Smack in them, man. Doing big shit over there.
But Smack is Smack. Yeah, Smack's an artist, basically. You know what I'm saying? He's an artist. I mean, he's a businessman.
Yeah, of course.
And, he does a lot of things behind the scenes that people don't know about.
Right.
But ultimately, he's who he is.
Right.
Chico's invisible. He's a ninja.
That's a fact.
You don't know where he's at. He's at events and you don't know he's there.
You might see him in
I've seen him one time in my life. The person Chico that they name, I've seen him one time in my life. And I've been to maybe 8 URL events. How many times have we seen Chico in interviews? I know we've all heard the name. If you've been around for a while in battle rap, we all hear Chico name. We cannot find more than 5 videos that he's in or talking. I've seen it. I've seen him one time. I don't think I've ever heard him talk.
Never see him again.
You might see him for 5 seconds. Knowledge, what's up? You turn around, he's gone. Main event is on stage. You don't even see him.
Right.
So, like, I'm more so the face in terms of, like, dealing directly with talent on a day-to-day basis.
You get the shots.
So you get the hits. Everything. Everything's my fault. Whether it happens on URL, whether it happens on another league, if somebody crashes their car in Nebraska, you know what I'm saying, somebody's flight is delayed.
Beasley's fault.
It's Beasley's fault. So I've learned to have a certain level of patience. You know what I'm saying? No offense, but I deal with a lot of women in my life in terms of, like, my daughter and women that I work with. Katie's always on my neck. Nels and them telling me what to do. You should have said this and this. So I have an extreme level of patience and people that know me and a high level of emotional regulation in terms of, like, controlling myself. So, like, 100%. Even when people come out and they make accusations or they say things, I don't always rush to defend them. And I think that was, like, a major mistake that I made because we're in a time, I come from a time period where you take the high road. You know what I'm saying? Like, I look up to other people like Jay-Z and, other guys like that where, they kind of take the high road. They don't really engage. And I think that works for a certain time period. But I think in the era that we live in now, it's like if you're not responsive in 24 hours, that shit is true. It's a fact. And it took me a long time to realize that. Right. So now I realize, like, I gotta come out.
That shit tricky, man. That shit is tricky because he's not wrong about that. Because I agree with that, man. Everything don't need a response. Everything don't need a response. sometimes you responded depending on, your situation and how lit, your situation is. You can have sponsors or whatever the case may be. And, you responding to something that's, maybe like a lower platform and, respectfully, like, that don't do as much as you're doing. And you ain't doing nothing but shedding light on the negativity. Making your people go see what they saying about you, and then, you're bigging up, that brand who wasn't making people care more than they would have hadn't you said something. But then sometimes it's like, nah, you let things slide too much, and it's like, oh, that, like Beasley said, that shit must be true. It's a tricky spot to be in. The internet is a tough game, man. It's a real tough game. I don't know where we'd be without it, but like, we also fucked up because of it. It's crazy.
I say more, and some people are just never gonna believe.
100%.
It doesn't matter what you say.
That's true. Very true.
Like even when I say things that make sense, they won't refute what I say. They'll just say, "Yo, he's media trained. He knows how to talk. He's spinning you."
Yeah,
but they don't have any real evidence to it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I could bring up documents. I could show text messages. I could do all those things, and they'll still say it's fake and made up, and that's fine.
Right.
But I realize that you have to come forward and you have to say things, because if you don't say it, it just becomes the truth. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times when we were being attacked, people were attacking the app, or people were attacking me personally, I didn't say anything. And because most of the time when I do interviews, people might say I'm robotic, or, you know what I'm saying? I don't, I may like be cursing and going crazy and stuff. Right. So they think like, oh, you know what I'm saying? He's lying, or that's fake, or whatever, or he's not. I'm just choosing not to say anything.
Right.
Sometimes behind the scenes, I keep it real with y'all. I'm like, this, are you crazy? Mm-hmm. Didn't you just, wasn't you just up?
Right.
And I hear everything. People send stuff to my phone. They look to get me hyped.
Right.
Yo, Beasley, what you think about this? And they DM me and they see the clip. And sometimes I used to get upset because, I'll hear guys online and they'll be talking about me like they don't know me. Like I don't know your father or your mother. You know what I'm saying? Or you didn't call me.
Or you ain't been in my house.
Right, you haven't been in my house, or I've been to your house, or I don't know your kids, or you don't know mine. You know what I'm saying?
That's real.
And for creating a mood or a feel on a podcast or spaces, they'll be like, yeah, because them niggas. That's the famous one, them niggas. But it wasn't them niggas when you called for something and you needed something. It wasn't them niggas then. You know what I'm saying? And this is not everybody.
Yeah.
And I don't want to paint a negative thing over battle rap. This will happen in any sport.
It's part of the game.
It's part of the game. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all calling out, reaching out for them handouts. And then when y'all get disgruntled, y'all get upset, y'all get mad, y'all start saying shit on these platforms. Y'all lucky. I tell you what. Because, ARP will do it. He'll keep the screenshots, right? He'll keep the text messages. He'll keep the files, so he says, right? He's got PDF files of all his conversations. And if you push the wrong buttons, you're going to get a tell-all book over there on Rare Breed Entertainment. I'd be surprised if y'all made Beasley mad enough. What's in them files? Who asking for what? Who needed they rent paid? Mama surgeries. I'm telling you, shit probably dark.
So I try not to take it personally, but I am human, and sometimes I do, behind the scenes I get upset, but I don't ever let it, make me lose my cool. I never want to act outside of myself. I never want my representation as a man to be somebody who's not in control of himself. You know what I'm saying? Because I have a daughter, she looks up to me, and I want her to always see her father conducting himself like a man. So I do it for myself, and I do it, for how I'm going to be viewed, because, all these recordings and these interviews that we're doing,
they're going to live forever.
They live forever. People don't realize that.
We're going to be old, and they're going to be bringing this interview up right here.
There may be a time or two where I jumped out of character over the years.
We got those too.
We human. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, you know what I'm saying? So,
it ain't that
to answer your question, man, yeah, pretty much everything can be mendable to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? I just think there has to be a line of respect there. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes if things aren't too bad, or people just know we're not rocking, and we kind of like keep it to themselves, and I don't see 20,000 blogs dragging me, destroying me. You know what I'm saying? I'll let it slide. Sometimes guys do it in a slick way where they'll say, yeah, because them niggas did this and this and this and this and this and this. But that's my man though. But so and so and so and so. Which is a way of trying to soften the blow. But at the end of the day, it's still, it's whack, man. It's disrespectful. And I'm not saying that there's not instances where we're wrong, but I'm going to look you in this camera and I'm going to tell you the majority of the time we're right. And if we weren't right, and we were doing things that were so wrong, nobody would battle here. Nobody would need to come back.
Right.
There's so much opportunity at this point within the culture for people to go or people to rap. They don't necessarily need us to survive, or from the standpoint of getting money. Now, in terms of keeping your profile at a certain level, I do think there's a certain level of intrinsic value in battling on URL. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're on a losing streak and you're kind of going down, and the smaller leagues out there are not booking you, if you come back to URL, it does give you a boost. You come back to 2 or 3 good battles on URL, good camera footage, sound, quality, right level of promotion, it elevates your profile again.
You right back. He not wrong. Beasley kind of cooking up here, like, if we're going to be honest.
100%.
So we've done that with a number of guys, whether we had a fallout with them, or either they just weren't doing well and we sat down and we constructed a way to present them back to the people and show that they still got it.
Right.
We've always come up with those types of methods, so I think we're doing a good job in that. But yeah, most things are mendable. Some people we're going to mend with, some people we're not, and I'm cool with that at this point. You know what I mean? I think we have enough talent to work with, and as long as I'm more so on respect. Like, I want people to acknowledge when they make mistakes. You know what I'm saying?
That's
or
real.
acknowledge when they attack us and we're not wrong. Because in the fans' eyes, we're wrong. But I understand that the talent is always going to have, more love from the people, which is fine. I'm not here to be loved by the people. My job is to put the battles on, to get guys on the platforms, to do deals with bigger companies, to expand the battle culture.
I mean, that was a pretty insightful interview by Knowledge and Hip Hop Is Real. And I thought Beasley gave us some good shit there. If you want to battle on URL, watch your mouth. Watch what you're saying out here. According to Beasley, they've done a lot for a lot of rappers. And they even say most of the rappers that have a problem or that's had a falling out, they have done things for. What those things are, we won't know. I don't know. So that was some good insight. Basically saying, like, look, we open. If it makes sense, we'll bring you back. If you was one of them guys that said things publicly, that might have been crossed the line a little bit. Say apologize publicly. I'm not necessarily mad at that. I get it. They are the biggest platform in battle rap. So it does, the world's most respected. They have shown there's not any rapper that they necessarily need. Right? And that's what it is. Like, that it's a well-oiled machine at this point. It is the machine. It is the business. Right now, that's one of the main leagues that's been feeding us right now. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm as tapped in as I used to be, but like, I'm not seeing a bunch of cards. I'm starting to see them cook up. I think I just seen a flyer, that they dropped today or yesterday that was kind of fire. I saw a couple battles on there that looked pretty good. So, all right, chat. That was pretty cool. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I seen 3 videos at the end of the video that popped up that we could do 3 more blogs on. So Hip Hop Real might feed they've been feeding the streets a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I might do blogs on all 3 of them videos. Y'all seen them. Y'all know we got K-Shine coming down this week. Stay tuned for that. That's gonna be a movie. We doing big shit over there in the Fro Zone. We doing big shit over here in the Bro Zone. I just checked the analytics. We getting close to being a monetized channel, which is really exciting. I never thought that I could, have a channel. You know what I mean? Froze has always been the star. Froze has always been the guy. He's always been the face of what we doing. So the fact that I'm here and I'm doing it and I got to be more consistent. I know we gonna put out 5 videos this week, to see if maybe by the end of the week, who knows? It might happen by the end of this week, as long as we stay consistent, as long as we stay to it. But, that's enough for me. I holler at y'all tomorrow. Y'all keep cooking up, hit that gym, eat healthy, live right. And I'll see y'all on the next one.
Now you know how we walk. Now you know how we walk. You just walk with bros. Yeah, the path ain't easy. Purpose in the steps, every move stay silent. You just walk with bros. Bros TV. The talk different. We ain't done yet.